Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. Today I'm going to be sharing with you my 1 month postpartum C-section recovery update. I really can't believe that it's been a month. The time flew by and it's just like, it's still blowing my mind when I think about it. If you're brand new here and you just stumbled across this video, my name is Erika. I had a C-section a month ago and it was my very first C-section for my second son. I had a vaginal delivery with my first and it was an awful experience, so I ended up having a medically necessary C-section with my second, and I did film a 1-week postpartum update video for you guys, and I linked that down below. And I mean, in that video, y'all, I was riding high. I was riding high on those postpartum hormones, and I'm super grateful that I had such like a surge of whatever happy hormone was coursing through my body, because I felt so amazing and so good. I think too it was just like a level of relief that the recovery was going so well, that I had such a great experience, that I have this beautiful newborn who right now is with my husband. Like it was the perfect cocktail of just feeling amazing. I've since come down from there. I still feel great. Spoiler, recovery is still going so incredibly well. I still feel great, but now I just feel like more like myself. Like I even knew that first week that I was just feeling so great and so amazing. I was like, this isn't normal for me. Like I'm not gonna be feeling this high for the rest of my life. I know that. But I'm glad that I felt so incredibly good. So I wrote down a whole bunch of notes for this past month. The first note says doctor's appointment. So I had my first postpartum checkup, I think it was 2 weeks after I got discharged from the hospital, and it went super well. They weighed me, but I didn't catch what my weight was on the scale. The nurse was so sweet. It was so lovely to see my doctor again. She said that my incision looked really good, and this was 2 weeks ago, so I'm hoping that my C-section scar looks even better now, but she said at the time it looked really good. They took the steri strips off. I think they're called steri strips, like the little tape. They took that off, and she said the entire incision looked great. There was one little part on the right side that still looked a little bit raw, but she wasn't concerned. And yeah, she just said like, if you have any concerns, let me know. For the first 2 weeks, I wasn't allowed to drive, which was something that I had no idea about. Like I didn't know that was it makes total sense, but I had no idea that was part of like the first few weeks of C-section recovery. Obviously I'm not allowed to lift anything heavy, so I have not been lifting. I still haven't been lifting Hugo, my first son. He is so heavy, and I've just been trying to avoid any sort of huge movements. I'll be honest, I have been vacuuming. I have been doing a little dust busting. I feel so good now, a month out, that I feel like I am able to do that stuff. I have been trying to take advantage of not doing those things and like really allowing my body to recover, but because I've been feeling so good, I have been able to do some things. I wrote, stopped wearing a pad 17 days postpartum. Still light bleeding, but it's minimal. And that is still sort of rings true now. So I was wearing pads, stopped them after 17 days, was so freaking happy because I hate wearing pads in my underwear. It always just makes me feel a little bit uncomfortable. Speaking of underwear, wanted to give a shout out to my Ellen Tracy underwear that you guys know I love. Guys, my underwear truly like almost goes up to my bra. The Ellen Tracy underwear have been the best. When I graduated out of the mesh undies, I can't remember how many days postpartum I was when I stopped wearing the mesh undies, but I started wearing my Ellen Tracy's. The best, the best. And then when I stopped wearing the at 17 days postpartum, when I stopped wearing the pad, I also stopped wearing the pad that went over my incision, and I was nervous about having my underwear just touch my incision, and these underwear have just been the best. Like they've been so soft. There's no like fabric that's going to be itchy or snag or like any of that stuff that just like makes my skin crawl thinking about it against my incision. But it's been great. It's been so great. I wrote sleep. What sleep? Who's sleep? Who's she? I don't know. No, sleep has been okay. We've had some pretty rough nights, like really rough nights. We've had some nights that are a little less rough. Like last night, my son slept for 4.5 hours in a 4.5 hour stretch, which was miraculous and amazing. I'll talk more about that though in his 1 month update. I think what I meant by sleep when I wrote it down was sleep and my incision, because that's been a little interesting. Like, especially now being a month postpartum, I've found that my incision, like when I sleep, is a little bit uncomfortable still. And granted, like I'm 4 weeks postpartum, so I have to keep reminding myself of that. I'm not like 4 months postpartum, and I'm hoping that these sensations will go away over time. But I have noticed that like when I'm sleeping, I'll sleep on my side. Sleeping on my left side for some reason is more comfortable than on my right, but I'll sleep on my left side and I'll have a pillow, almost like what you would do with pregnancy, right? Where you have the pillow and you kind of shove it under your belly. I do that, but now with my postpartum belly. So I'll just push it against my incision, and that feels really, really good. But yeah, it can be a little bit uncomfortable. I've also noticed, especially in the past week, this is a little bit weird, but right above my incision, here, let me show you, like right above, like here, right under my belly is very tender, very tender. And I'm thinking it's my abdominals, and it's just my abdominals healing, but that's been interesting. And like, that's been the most uncomfortable part. And I haven't had any issues with my incision, which is amazing. I haven't had any bleeding. I haven't had any sort of like pus or oozing or like any infection. So grateful. But I have had that tenderness, and it's not where my incision is. It's right under my belly button. So again, I'm thinking it's my abdominals, and I've been keeping an eye on it. I haven't been using my abs, but in the middle of the night when I'm getting up to like get him, and like getting out of bed and stuff, I try not to use my abdominals, but I'm guilty of sometimes using them. Yeah, overall the incision is fine. It's just those little things that I'm still mindful of with the incision. But the incision looks great, like so great. So great that I almost, like, there have been a few times when I'm like, is that the incision, or is that just like a roll of my body? Bizarre. Anyway, I wrote, stop taking any pain relief at maybe 2 weeks postpartum. So they did send me home with some prescription pain relief, and then told me to take that until it ran out, and then intersperse with Tylenol and Motrin, which was what I was doing at the hospital. And so yeah, at around 2 weeks postpartum, I stopped taking it. I have like taken it here and there if I felt like I needed it, if my incision was feeling like a little sore, or if again that area above my incision was feeling a little sore. But yeah, around 14 days postpartum, I didn't feel like I needed it anymore, which is amazing. I wrote scar sort of burns, and that's still kind of true. In the recovery, I found that a little bit of a burning sensation around my scar, but again, like I haven't had any infection. There hasn't been any sort of noticeable anything. My aunt who had a two C-sections, and as a nurse actually told me to expect that in the healing process, so that wasn't incredibly out of the blue. I wrote, swelling is completely gone, pretty much gone at 9 days postpartum. So you guys saw, if you watched all my pregnancy updates, I swell during pregnancy like a balloon. And I was a little surprised that after I gave birth, the swelling didn't go down as quickly as I wanted it to, because I feel like when I gave birth vaginally with my first son, it did go down a lot faster, which, I mean, makes sense in my head. So at around 9 days postpartum, I woke up and my feet, I could finally see my feet. I'm looking at them now. I could see my bones. I could see my ankle. I could see my calf and like my shin bone. I like just felt so good. Was so happy that that swelling had gone down. I wrote, breastfeeding is still going amazingly. So I know some women when they're breastfeeding get really, really hungry when they're breastfeeding. I'm actually the opposite. I get really, really thirsty. And that was something that I also wanted to mention. While I'm pregnant, and I said it in all my pregnancy vlogs, hungry all the time. Like my stomach turns into, during pregnancy, a bottomless pit, an insatiable, I can't eat enough. All the time. I am always hungry. I could eat a full huge meal and then like 5 minutes later still be hungry. And although that's like sort of fun and like kind of exciting, it's also not not super, like, it's just not me. It's not who I am. And so I remember giving birth to my son, having the C-section, and a few hours later finally feeling like I got my appetite back, in that I don't feel so hungry all the time, and definitely feel like I have returned back to like who I am as an eater, which feels so good. Like I won't wake up starving. I've had a few bagels. Give you guys a bagel update. I've had a few bagels, but they just don't hit the spot like they do when I'm pregnant. They just really don't. And I find that I get, like, I can actually feel full sooner, and I'm just eating portions that like make more sense to my body and feel more normal to me. And so that's been so nice to just not feel like I need to eat the entire refrigerator's worth of food every single day. So 2 thumbs up for that. Yeah, I'm just thirsty all the time with breastfeeding, all the time. With breastfeeding, when I breastfed my first son, Hugo, I did not, like, some women drop weight like crazy and like lose all the baby weight right away, and I didn't find that I had that experience with Hugo. But I am experiencing that a little more this time around, although I don't know if it's because my appetite has returned back to normal, like that's why I feel like I'm sort of losing weight quicker, or if it's the breastfeeding, I don't know. Another doctor's appointment in 2 weeks, so I'll be interested to see like how much weight I've dropped. Y'all, I don't prioritize weight loss after baby. That's just like not something that's at the forefront of my mind. But I think because it's happening quicker this time around, it's something I've just noticed faster. And because my appetite, I felt like, was so out of control during my pregnancy, to have it return back to normal again has just made me a little bit more aware of my body and like losing weight faster than I did with my first. So just thought that was interesting. I wrote, my boobs are huge this go around. So on the breastfeeding, still on the breastfeeding topic, my boobs are huge. They're so big. I've been loving the bras that I'm using. I told you guys that I don't use traditional snap nursing bras. They're just not my thing. I use, like, I have this bra from Lucky Brand. Well, it is Lucky Brand, but I got it from Marshall's. I got a bunch of, my son outside. I got a bunch of just like comfortable lounge bras from Marshall's a few weeks, maybe a month or so before I gave birth, and I just pull them down when I'm breastfeeding, and I love them. I love them. I love them. My boobs are ginormous. My boobs are ginormous. They're definitely bigger than the first time around, and I've been able to feed off both sides. I'm going to make a bunch of breastfeeding videos because I've had a few requests from you guys, like making a breastfeeding day in the life or like breastfeeding essentials. I will do all that stuff, so I won't go into huge detail now, but just know that breastfeeding this time around has been so amazing, which makes me so happy because the first time I hated it so much. I have still been using the nipple shields. I've tried a little bit to go off the nipple shields, but my nipples are just so flat, and I think that they also may be slightly inverted. You can just imagine all that. So I'm trying not to like fuss, and I'm using the nipple shields right now. I use the 16mm Medela nipple shields, if that's helpful. I don't know. they're the smallest ones. There you go. If you have questions about like what size nipple shield you should use, I would recommend asking your OB or your midwife or your doula, whoever you're seeing during your pregnancy. They can take a look at your nipples and let you know, give you a recommendation on what size. I can't, because I can't see your nipples. So ask, or if you have a lactation consultant, ask them. Our has been feeling tender at the end of week 2, kind of mentioned that. I wrote I smell. I wrote I smell bad. No, you know, that postpartum, the first month, I think it was on Desi Perkins's Instagram, someone wrote like the first month of postpartum is like just all leaking boobs, fluids, blood, like it's just all of that, and I couldn't agree more, and I think that's why I wrote I smell. I'm always covered in breast milk, you know, for the first few weeks I was bleeding, like it's just, and you're trying to shower whenever you can. Usually it's like once a week, and so it's just been, you know, it's just getting through that first month and getting into a new routine. I wrote schedule, putting Theo on Hugo's schedule. Appreciate that the schedule already exists. And this is gonna lead me into the last thing I wanted to chat about, which is mental health. So with Theodore, he's obviously a newborn. For the past month, I haven't had him on a schedule. It's I think, almost impossible to put newborns on a schedule, especially newborns that are breastfeeding, because you're just sort of feeding on demand. And that's what we've been doing. We've been feeding on demand, and I've just been giving him breast milk whenever he wants it. But something that I have been doing that I think has contributed to my positive mental health is that whenever Hugo goes down for a nap, or when he goes down for bed, I try to, within a span of like 30 minutes, also get Theodore in the snoo. And that has helped tremendously with preserving my mental health, making me feel like I still get a little bit of mommy time, making me feel like I just have there's a little more structure to the day, because okay, I know Hugo's going down for a nap. I'm also going to try to put Theodore in his bassinet, and then that'll give me, I don't know, 15, 20, 30, 45 minutes of either doing YouTube work or laundry or whatever. And so it's not necessarily to like recommend to you guys that you do the exact same thing, but if you're like me and you know that for your mental health you need a little bit of you time during the day, especially when you have a newborn on you all the time, especially when you're waking up a million times during the night or you're breastfeeding, like all that stuff is so draining. For me, getting them on the same sleep schedule has been really helpful. And again, like, it's within reason. If Theodore's not tired or he's awake, then that's fine, I don't do that. But for the past 4 weeks, almost every single night, I've been able to get them both sleeping at the same time. Theodore obviously will wake up about 2 hours later, but it's so nice to have, like, at night when Hugo goes down for bed at 6:30, Theodore will go down anytime between 6 and 7. We then get some time to eat dinner together, Jeff and I, and that's been so lovely. And I think that's been a huge reason why this past month has been so great. I also wanted to mention that I've had a lot of help this past month. My in-laws have been staying with us. They're leaving in a week. So check in with me in a month. Ask me how my mental health is doing then. We will see. But that's been a huge help and a huge contributing factor to why I felt so good. But it's just made me realize again that postpartum women they just kind of like fall under the radar, and like how important it is for postpartum new moms, whether it's your first baby or second baby or third baby, to have that support and to have that help. It's so much to handle on your own. It's so much to take on your own. And I wish there were a way that every mother, every postpartum woman could have that support and could have, even if it's just a phone call or someone swinging by and dropping off frozen dinner, like all of that stuff is so incredibly helpful, especially in those first few weeks. So if you need to chat, if you're postpartum and you don't have help, but you want to just chat and you want to just talk, find me on Instagram and send me a message, and we can always just talk about anything, right? About just to make you feel not so alone, right? That's so incredibly helpful. So anyway, that's my 1 month postpartum update. I feel like there was a lot to talk about. Thank you for making it all the way here. If you made it all the way to the end, leave a baby emoji down in the comments, like that little baby face emoji. Love that little baby face emoji. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you have any questions about anything, postpartum, breastfeeding, C-section recovery, leave it down in the comments below, or any like video suggestions too. And I will get to those. I love you all. I'm sending you all so much love. And I'll see you in my next one. Bye, guys. Oh, let me actually, well, I'll show you my belly. I can't show you my scar because it's really low. And we're like not about to get demonetized on this platform. So let me show you my stomach. I'll show you my stomach. So this is, let me just pull down my super high-rise pants and underwear. This is my 1 month postpartum belly. I still have the line that goes all the way. That's still present. My belly button is still like weirdly dark. I shower, so it's not dirt. But that's on the side. And this is the other side. And yeah, I feel good. Like, you know, that definitely still feels tender here. But in terms of like what my body looks like 1 month out, I feel really good. All right, guys, now I'll say bye. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in my next one.